All right. So off the cuff.
Baba Booey. 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 Baba Booey.
My name is Nick,
Booey.
and I'm here to
Baba
say
Booey.
I'm fucking
Baba
up your leg
Booey.
in a major
Baba
way.
Booey.
Gonna
Baba
get a...
Booey.
Okay. So I wrote this document.
I wrote this document.
I wrote this essay in MLA format. No, I didn't.
This is my thesis.
Yeah, no, this is my thesis for life.
Oh.
It's called "The World Is Awful."
Nick wrote his own Bible, guys. It's called
wrote
the Bible.
My little
Bible.
My little Bible. I wrote my own little document about how I think the world is awful. That's what I did.
Nick is a nihilist.
I'm just gonna read through this. I didn't. This is one of those things I didn't even go back and proofread it.
These are my words.
I didn't even go back and proofread it because I kind of was looking at it like, I don't know. Like I said a minute ago, it's almost like a diary entry.
Yeah, we're gonna listen to you say, "When I'm feeling down, when I'm feeling blue." There's more.
For a while. Okay, well, anyway, so what is it, Megan, about the world that makes it so awful?
Well, politics, climate change, people suck.
That is the question a lot of people ponder.
Oh, I wasn't supposed to answer it.
And usually, no, I did. I paused for effect, but I was going to continue because everything you said is true. No, that is a question that a lot of people ponder and usually come to several different conclusions. They usually come. So these conclusions that different people make, right? They're based on experiences and opinions. But aren't opinions an awful thing too?
Yeah, they can be.
Isn't it that opinions cause most of the conflicts in this world?
Yeah.
And as a result, we think that the world itself is awful.
Well,
But even that I just said, all that stuff that I just said, that's an opinion. That the world is awful. And that opinions are the reason that the world is awful. That's an opinion.
Nick, have you ever thought about going into philosophy?
This is very philosophical. This is part of my little Bible.
This is part of
Open your Bibles.
Physiolophically.
Open your Nick Tech Bibles. This is all part of the Nick Tech lore. This is the lore. This is a lore podcast.
This
okay.
is the Nick Tech philosophy.
So there...
No, okay. I do want to mention that before you continue, this is a question posed by
Archimedes.
No. This is a question posed by a lot of philosophers.
Socrates.
Yeah, he's a philosopher.
He's a philosopher. The Philosopher's Stone.
He's a velociraptor.
The Philosopher's Stone.
He's a velociraptor.
Okay.
Doing
Velociraptor.
a velociraptor.
Yeah. Oh, we love it.
Oh man, I totally lost my train of thought.
That's good because this. Okay. All right.
No, what I was gonna say is just, if there's more than one person in a room at a single time, there is conflict.
Can you stop spoiling what I'm writing in my paper?
Is that what you wrote?
Yeah, I did, but I said it better. So.
Okay, so you can just skip all of that.
We'll just cut all that out.
Steven, cut that out.
Yeah, I'm the philosopher here. Look at me. I'm the philosopher now.
Philosopher's Stone.
Philosopher's Stone. So anyway,
The Philosopher's
to a lot of people,
Stoned.
that opinion about opinions being bad is wrong, right? There are plenty of people who think the world is just fine the way it is, and others who think it's a decent world that has, some problems. And then there are people who think the world is downright awful. Mm-hmm. Is there a right or wrong answer?
Yes, it's awful, and that's correct. Everybody who thinks it's good is...
Is there a right or wrong answer?
Wrong.
I would say, or rather, I pose the question, can we even decide if the world is awful or not? Well, in my opinion. The answer is no, and this is my opinion. Incredible, and I wrote a sidebar, like incredible how many times I've already said the word opinion and how many opinions I've already posed. The word
Literally,
opinion is going to lose its meaning.
It's going to become...
I actually wrote that. The word opinion is starting to lose its meaning.
Oh, at least you're consistent.
Dude, I am very consistent.
But this is your op onion.
My op onion. Yep.
My OP onion.
Like when you say a word too many times. Wow, I put a whole ass sidebar. When you say a word too many times, it starts to sound weird and becomes difficult to pronounce.
And you literally just had that same sidebar.
Oh my gosh, this is crazy. So anyway, so why do I think the world is awful? So the answer is fairly simple, in my opinion. I can sum it up with a quote from Commander Irwin of the Scout Regiment. Wait, what is it? Shindo Sasagadu! Shindo Sasagadu! He said, humans. He said, humans will continue to fight until there's one or less humans on the earth.
Right, because of that age-old quote that's if there's more than
one person in a room, there'll be conflict. But not only that, he goes as far as to say there will be conflict until there's one or less humans on the entire earth. And that is a quote from a fictional character. But real people have said similar statements, as you just said. And it's a very true statement.
Well, and sorry to cut you off again. Yeah. I'm really good at that.
No, you're good.
I'm like a man in that way.
That's kind of the point. You're here to talk as well.
So, the thing is that cartoon was written by humans.
No way.
Who have opinions.
What? It wasn't written by an AI that's stealing jobs?
Not this particular one. But that's the thing, is that the people that wrote this have opinions.
They do. Because as humans, we have the ability to think and form complex thoughts. We have the ability to delude ourselves into believing whatever we set our minds to. And we just did a podcast on that, so you should go back and listen to the previous episode.
Way to plug.
And buy
Nick
our merch.
is going into IT. He's really good at plugging things.
Oh, that's... I mean, I would have thought like maybe electrician.
Oh.
Or... Well, I know you're right. I can plug. Either way.
Either way, he's plugging.
We're plugging. So think about all the different people in the world and how many, and how different their mentalities must be, from nuns and religious leaders who attribute everything to God, all the way to people who classify as classify. So I guess I was thinking of the word identify, but I realized that it's not an identification. No, because I was talking about psychopaths who kill several people and feel as if that's their calling. Like they did it for Lord Satan, or they killed someone because that was what they had to do.
I think the whole point of psychopaths is that they don't have a calling, and they recognize that it's just an impulse.
And that's probably true, because again, I didn't research. This is not like a research article for me, so I just kind of wrote down what I think.
This is an editorial.
This is my thesis. My thesis statement. So anyway, all these people and the many in between have all formed these thoughts in the same human brain, and yes. Not all people and not all brains are made alike. Mental illness does exist, and it continues to throw curve balls.
And stupidity exists.
That tests humans and their ability to cope with complex thoughts, and their ability to show restraint. But despite all these factors, the quotation still stands. Humans will continue to fight until there are one or less humans on the earth. So what does that mean, though? I like to think of the quote a little differently than the Titan-killing maniac that is Commander Irwin. I like to think of the quote as humans will continue to create conflict until there are one or less humans on the earth.
Essentially, Nick would like to kill all humans.
Shindo Sasagi!
Eren Yeager.
So you see, like I was saying, I'm also really struggling to read this because I did not read it back at all. When I said I didn't proofread it, I mean, I have not read this.
He didn't read it.
I have not read this. I just finished typing it and I closed the document.
He barely thought it.
And by finished typing, I mean, this is going to end very abruptly at some point. And
that's
then I
okay,
closed the document.
because we're going to have a post-talk
We're going to have, post-nut clarity. post. Okay. So you
I
see,
don't
like I
have
was
any
saying,
nuts. I'm allergic.
like I was saying, because humans have the ability to form complex thoughts, they have the ability to experience emotions in what seems to be very extreme ways sometimes. Humans create conflict wherever they can. It seems to be what we humans rely on. We know that we aren't perfect, and as a result, we don't think that anyone is perfect. Even if you were self-centered and thought that you were perfect, that is only because you have deluded yourself into thinking that.
Which is
But
an
because you
imperfection.
feel that everyone else is lesser than you for some reason. Because you feel that everyone else is lesser than you for some reason. Even the nicest people among us, even the nicest people among us who recognize that they aren't perfect fall to an idea that they are that they're worse than other people. They can be people who I'm struggling to read this.
Well, while you're gathering your place, I just want to mention that the average person actually believes that they are above the intelligence of their peers.
I feel like I probably do talk about that a little bit because, again, I don't remember. But, like, it is... That was one of the points that I was trying to make. And like I said, I don't know if I wrote this or not. But even someone who is incredibly humble and is like... You know, when you're the kind of person that everybody is friends with you because you're just really nice, maybe not even behind someone's back, but just exclusively in your own head, you're judging the crap out of someone.
Yeah.
You're comparing yourself to someone and saying, at least I'm better than them.
Yep.
Even though
true.
you're really nice, and to their face you can be really nice, and maybe you're smart enough that you are not talking about them behind your back because then someone else will be angry at you.
Yep.
But anyway,
I think that, and this might just be me, but we're coming from a perspective of, and possibly you too, a perspective of codependent personalities, where we do constantly think about the feelings of others in relation to ourselves, and the actions of others and the implications of the actions of others in relation to ourselves. Not everybody actually thinks that way.
yeah.
But I do think it is true that it doesn't matter how good you are outwardly, everybody has those comparisons going on in their heads.
It's some sort of internal dialogue.
Yeah, it's some sort of internal dialogue that's like, because we have this idea of good and bad and our opinions, we're constantly putting things on a scale from our perspective, which means that anything that exists has to be better or worse than what we have as the ideal in our head.
I actually did write that. There are people who are incredibly humble too and put themselves at the bottom of the food chain simply to try and avoid conflict. But you don't know what could be going on inside that person's head. They could be lying to you through their teeth and forming negative opinions about you behind your back. And if the time came for them to fight or move on to something else, they could easily leave you behind.
But
I'm not really sure what that thought was about. But
does that matter? Do people's internal monologues that are never see the light of day, do they matter? Or do their actions matter?
I guess it's hard to say because you wouldn't know. You don't know what's going on inside someone's head.
Right.
And frankly, there's a lot of times where there might not be something going on inside someone's head, but you think there could be. There was a study done at one point where somebody went out like wearing like a ridiculously vulgar and disgusting looking t-shirt and then bumped into a friend like on purpose. Like they bumped into a friend and had a conversation with them and then went on later and texted them and said, "Hey, did you see my shirt today? Did you see what I was wearing?" And they're like, "No, I didn't notice at all. I have no idea. I had no idea what you were wearing." And they were like, "I was wearing a shirt that said, 'suck my dick,'" you know what I mean? Or something like that. Like something really vulgar that you like would otherwise not expect your friend to be wearing, especially in public or something like that, you know?
Right.
And I think the psychology behind it was that people are always too worried about themselves to be worried about what's going on with you.
Yeah.
But there are people that, like I said, there are self-centered enough people that they are a little more worried about you.
I wouldn't actually. The people that are more worried about the opinions of others, I mean, that is being self-centered, but it's also being codependent, where they receive. And I just want to explain, codependency does not mean that you rely on others. Like, it's not like, I need you, I need attention. That's not being codependent. What codependency is actually getting your validation and your self-worth from other people.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, you could be codependent in a codependent relationship with your boss, where you don't see value in yourself at work unless your boss specifically tells you that you're doing a good job. Or you seek validation from your parents or your friends. These are the kind of people that like can't make decisions without asking other people first if it's okay. They're the ones that are like, oh yeah, anything is fine because I don't care what happens and I can control my emotions in this situation, but I can't come back from you having a bad time with something that I suggested. So they're the ones that are like, I'm good with anything you pick.
Right. Yeah.
And these are the people that are constantly thinking about the opinions of others, and especially the opinions of others about themselves. And I think like everybody has a little bit of vanity in them, where they're kind of always thinking like, oh, well, I can't wear that because people are going to think I'm like weird or whatever.
Yeah.
But everybody is thinking that. And everybody's worried about what you are thinking about them, to the point where actually nobody cares. Everybody is actually thinking about themselves.
Yeah, that's kind of true. But then you wind up being like more offended that they didn't say anything.
That's true too.
Because if you're looking for that validation and they don't say anything.
That's true. And that's another part of it is that that's all part of the codependency thing. But yeah, definitely the opinions of others definitely matter to people. But that's the thing, is that, is it actually the opinions of others that matter, or your perception of the opinions of others? Because if you don't actually hear what those people are thinking, I mean, they could be judging you.
So
They could not be.
But continuing that thought is all of that to say that you should not trust anyone, that you should not make friends or even come face to face with other people in an effort to avoid conflict and confrontation. And I wrote, many people try to do this, but that is, in my opinion, again, the most unhealthy way to live, and usually will cause you to have even more conflict in the future because you lack necessary social skills and have never been faced with the option to form an opinion. Let me get to the end of this, actually.
That's
but
a good point.
Isn't it funny that the very statement and the idea that you shouldn't trust anyone in fear is also an opinion? Yeah, cool. Great sidebar, Nick. And not only that, but it is the most conflicting opinion of them all. You put yourself at such a distance to everyone else that you actually wind up creating more negativity than you avoid. And then I said pretty much that was getting out of hand, and it was hard to extrapolate
Yeah.
what I was trying to say into words. And it got really messy.
Yeah, that's definitely a word tornado.
It is a bit of a word tornado, but that's why I eventually get back on topic.
That was word vomit that was just swirling down the toilet.
But I think what I was trying to say is, like, it's usually not possible that you actually never leave the house. But we know people that.
Yeah, this is okay. No, you're posing the opposite personality disorder of codependency, which is borderline personality, where basically if something conflicts with how you want to see the world, you shut it out. And you're trying to avoid that dissonance and that conflict, to the point where these are the people that, like, in quote, forming healthy boundaries, they cut people out.
Yeah.
At the slightest thing. And it's not even just that you're never leaving the house, it's that you are purposefully blocking out anything that could be perceived as conflict.
Well, but I think, and that is definitely a thing. But I am actually going as far to say it's like from birth to a certain extent, you might be raised a certain way that you didn't really get out that much.
Purposefully avoiding people who have.
Well, not even like in the beginning. You're probably young enough that your parents just don't really take you out that much,
Right, and
then
it's
you're like used to that.
Right, you're used to that little bubble that you grew up in, where this is normal life, where you avoid people and you avoid certain people in certain areas.
Yeah. Well, and like I don't know. We definitely know people that were raised differently than we were, and I think that it has caused them to struggle to develop socially to the point where like when they were out in the real world, it was like a sudden massive smack in the face of like, oh my gosh, I can't say or do this or
Right, not being exposed to other people's opinions,
Right.
definitely, and then all of a sudden seeing that there's a million different voices besides the 6 or
right.
12 that
and
you're
as soon
used
as you
to.
express your voice, you find out just how much negativity that can bring, and you wind up creating more problems for yourself than if you had just kept quiet in the beginning, or if you had known ahead of time that was
So
in disagreement
then
with someone
it's
else.
like the avoidance of conflict. Is it that you never encounter conflict by never encountering other humans, or that you never have an opinion and therefore don't cause conflict with the other humans that you encounter, so that you can encounter other humans?
Right. And then in the process, at that point, when you don't form any opinions, the process of trying to avoid people creates an aura of negativity because it feels like you're trying to avoid them on purpose for some reason. And in your head, you're like, well, why is that person trying to avoid me? What do they look at me and think I look ugly or something? And it's like, it has nothing to do with that, but you don't know.
Right.
And they're not going to tell you.
But also, if you're specifically trying to avoid people in general, those people have opinions and are thinking, well, you're avoiding me because of my opinions, because of those specific
Right.
points of view that I have that you don't like. It's not that they don't like opinions in general, it's that they don't like your opinion specifically.
Yeah.
And that's the outsider point of view of people who are avoiding all of those confrontations, those people that like don't want to get into the mix. They don't want to stir the pot or whatever. They're like, oh, it's because they don't like my opinion. That's why they're not talking. That's why they're not. It's that they have the opposite opinion, not that they have no opinion.
Man, that was a pretty jumbled up section.
Yep.
So, all right, let's see if I get back on track with this or not, or if I just continue to get more and more down a rabbit hole of redonkulousness. So I said, the long and short of it is that humans have opinions. Humans are also creatures of habit and will follow others blindly and live their lives totally as normal, even while hating someone or something. Okay, where do I go with this? That's kind of cool. Think about the reasons we have countries. Ooh, wow. Big change in pace. And patriotism, racism, sexism. Wow. Okay. Just open the floodgates for
Nick
controversy.
had so many thoughts, and you know what, Nick? I don't want to hear your thoughts.
It's pretty much.
Or opinions.
Yeah. Anything that can divide a people. This probably sprung from someone's opinion of someone at some random point in time. And as much as we try to abolish these things and create peace and equality, there's still conflict. Will we ever see a world where everyone is treated fairly and justly? And I said, most likely not. Try as we might, we can't force someone to think another way. Trying to force people to think a certain way is usually what creates the rift in groups of people in the first place. Mm-hmm. Trying to force people to think a certain way is the reason we have borders and countries. I guess those are kind of go hand in hand. Segregation and pay gaps and many, many other types of divisions. Try as we might, if someone is racist and hates say, an Asian person simply because of their ethnicity. We can't force them to stop thinking that way. They have to learn it on their own. Think about how vindicated that person would feel knowing that they are standing their ground for what they believe in, even if that opinion is generally considered wrong. In other words, how vindicated you feel if somebody's like, you need to stop being racist, and you're like, well, I'm going to do what I want because I'm American. Or maybe not just American, but in general.
If their opinion is grounded in some belief that they have, that they really believe in.
My mom was killed by an Asian.
And that's
stupid.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that the opinions and beliefs, I mean, beliefs are a lot stronger than facts sometimes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's you posed a really interesting question there, because, like, you know, you think about the beginning of humanity. Apparently, we all started in Africa, right?
Is that true?
I don't know. Pangea was all one big land mass that broke apart, came back together, broke apart, came back together. Panjafrica. And apparently all life stems from Africa. That's apparently the center of Pangea. But, like, humans had to start somewhere, right?
Yeah.
It started biblically with 2. It started scientifically
with monk, gorilla, or
monk,
space dust,
with something. But humanity had to start from somewhere, so we all came from a single source, right? So eventually those countries had to be created because people were like, I don't fucking like you. Languages had to be created because they were like, you know what, you talk weird, I'm gonna talk like this. I think this is the better way of communicating. And then, you know, countries were formed and groups were made, and then groups within those groups were made about how that group should be governed. And
right. Well, I just listened to a dollop. Shout out to the dollop.
We love the dollop. Dave Anthony and Gary Reynolds.
Prefers Gary.
It's Gary, not Gareth.
Gary, not Gareth Reynolds. But no, I was listening to one of those about the Morosites and someone that was trying to, like, create a branch off of the Mormon religion.
Oh, man.
And it was, like, super extreme. And it's just kind of crazy listening, because there's a lot of stories that they do about religion and people trying to break off into different religions. And just how plainly and easily they say, yep, and they, within, like, 1 month, gained, like, 100 followers and started this whole religion. And some of them were, like, absurd. Like, they've talked about how one of them was, like, all these people claim that they can talk to God. And some of them were like, oh, God told me that I need to get all of your wives in a room with me naked. And this was like an actual story. Some guy convinced all of his followers that he needed to sleep with all of their wives.
Of course.
And he did. He slept with like 100 women or something.
Because they were all like, yeah, of course, if God said so.
If God said so. Yeah. But anyway, sorry. I digress. But
no, you're exactly right. I mean, let's talk about Tesla.
Nikola Tesla?
The company.
Okay. What about it?
It has a religious following, even though their cars are known for exploding.
Wait, what? Hold on. Wait, what are you talking about?
The Tesla
has a religious following. Or you mean like a religious-like following?
A religious-like.
Okay, I was about to say, I was like thinking like the Church of Tesla, the Church of Musk.
You know how the T kind of looks like a crucifix? Yeah, they have Elon Musk up there just holding his hands
No, I
out.
feel like that would be a little bit more against Tesla. No. They crucified Elon Musk. Oh, no.
I mean, but, like, those kinds of things that have, like, a cult, like, and they say it, a cult-like following or a cult following. And it's just a group of people that think, you know, that believe this car is superior, that this
I think
idea is superior.
That is actually the case in almost everything, but also every auto manufacturer. It's just that many auto manufacturers have been around much longer, and so they're not current anymore.
And they're not exploding.
Well, okay, but the same can be said for Samsung phones.
Yeah.
That briefly exploded, and yet there's still a huge debate between, which one's better, Apple or Samsung. And we all know the real answer.
It's orange.
Is that a cell phone company?
That's not Apple.
Oh, I
banana.
I picked it up. I picked up on it. Okay. So anyway, I said, continuing my dive bomb into racism and sexism.
We're touching the really light topics.
We're just going right in there. Yeah. No, I don't know if I continue with that. I just said you simply have to let it go. Everyone is not always going to be on your side. Or not going to be on your side. Not always.
And I don't want to get political, but I want to get political.
Okay.
So
oh, sure.
That's what I think about the liberals. I said it. Oh no.
What?
Oh no. The liberals.
What do you think about the liberals?
I feel like the people who are very left, who believe very strongly in the social mission of the liberal agenda, they have their hearts in the right place, and I do believe that. I'm with them on all of their social issues, but the thing is that not everybody is. There's no way that everybody is going to believe that, and the thing is that socialism and communism, they were theories. They only work in a world where everybody agrees that that's the best way to do it.
Right.
And that's never going to happen, especially in the United States, where we were built on being able to express our differing opinions. I mean, that's why free speech is the First Amendment.
Mm.
We're so individualistic and believe in our right to be ourselves and believe whatever we want to believe, that we're never all going to believe the same thing. That's just not America. We're never all going to believe. There's always going to be somebody that's an asshole that believes that they're superior based on their sex or their skin color or their ability to play golf or whatever, but we're never going to hold hands and sing Kumbaya, because there's always going to be somebody that's not going to agree. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very true. And we are lucky enough to be able to form relationships and keep the people that agree with our opinions and way of life by our side. But there will always be people who think otherwise. Does this mean those people are evil?
Yes.
In their eyes, no.
They are.
So wouldn't it be a generalization to say that anyone who disagrees with you is evil? I would think so. I have many disagreements with people, or have had many disagreements with people in the past. I still do today. Most of those people I simply don't talk to anymore. Does that mean I hate them? I said not all of them. No. Good one. Some stand out more than others for sure. I've had some friends in the past who were entirely racist. They were openly verbal about hating black people. I kind of forget who I was talking about, and consistently use the N-word in speech. Oh, maybe I know who I'm talking about. I don't really talk to them anymore. But I didn't say anything to stand up for people that they were hating on. To most people, would that make me racist? If I respect black people and I don't support racist acts of violence and all that, then I would have stood up for them in that moment. But I don't think that's always the case. This was a good point that I thought about quite a bit recently, which is how I am not anti-LGBTQ, but I have also never been to a pride rally or anything like that. And there are definitely
guys, you heard it here first. Nick does not support LeBron giving back to communities.
LeBron giving back to communities.
LGBTQ.
Oh, communities. LeBron giving back to communities. Hell yeah. I'm all for that.
But that's okay. But
I've always said that.
Supporting something and not having a problem with something is different than supporting something.
Right.
And then also that's different than participating in something.
Right.
So
I have always said that like I am so neutral on things to the point of like pure, I don't know how to pluralize that word, ignorancy. What's pure ignorance? Just like
ignorancy.
I don't know how to like
ignorance.
I wanted to be more thorough in my speech there, but I'm ignorant.
Yeah.
I have many ignorancy.
I think that you just did it.
I'm a great public speaker.
You were hugely ignorant.
Hugely ignorant.
See.
Ignorant. That's right. No, but I've always like I don't know anything about politics. Like,
no,
if somebody asks me what I align with, I don't even know.
That is ignorance. It's literally not knowing something. It doesn't mean you're stupid. It means that
because I choose not to. And I've said this before to someone where.
But we do need to mention that it's not you being stupid. It's the absence of knowledge, but also your absence of reason to get involved because you are a white man.
But, okay.
And you're straight. No, and I'm not trying to say that like
you don't know what it's like to be me. To be a male content creator. Thank you, Schlatt, for that one.
Yeah, you know what? I just need to. It's my fault. I get paid less because I chose women data analysts. You can just
lob those tits off.
That's true.
And not be a woman.
No, okay. I wasn't trying to.
It's 2023. You cannot be a woman.
I identify
as an Apache attack helicopter.
As your mom. Booyah.
Well, that's weird.
Yep. Let's make it weird.
I mentioned to someone that I was having this discussion and I said that I didn't really have an opinion on LeBron giving back to communities. I didn't really have an opinion. Communities. I didn't really have an opinion on it. And I said I didn't really care what people did. Right. So I wasn't going to go.
Lettuce, guacamole, tomato.
Lettuce, bacon, tomato,
quesadilla sandwiches.
Plus.
The large one.
Plus, right. The large one. LGBTQ XL.
It's the plus. It's the premium subscription.
The premium. Oh my gosh.
You only get the extra letters if you subscribe.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Sorry.
No, but I was having this discussion with someone and I said I don't support or go against these ideals that people carry because it doesn't really involve me.
It's very libertarian
until it involves me, it's not that big of a deal. And I also said that it's not something that I understand. Like you know, we've had people, I'm trying to be ambiguous. We've had people that have talked about how they were like, oh yeah, so-and-so identifies this way. I have no idea what that means. So, you know, whatever. And I've kind of said that same thing before. Like, I have no idea what that means and whatever. And somebody was like, oh, okay, well, I'll explain it to you. And I was like, no. I was like, no, I don't want you to explain it to me. I
have
care.
Google. I could have done this.
It's not even that. It's just like well, and then the other thing.
No, but it's like I have Google. I could have if I wanted to.
Well, there's that, but I was also like, I could have, like, I don't really care. I don't want to sit here and have this discussion because it doesn't, like, I don't know.
It doesn't affect your daily life. It doesn't affect me.
But then I also looked at that person and I was like, so where did you get your knowledge from? Where's your PhD from?
Yeah.
like somebody, like, I think I had the same discussion when somebody was asking me, like, oh, who are you going to vote for? And I was like, I don't know who I'm going to vote for. I was like, it sounds like all of them are bad options.
It's true.
And then they were trying to convince me to go to this one side. And I was like,
but that's your opinion. And they weren't all bad.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. No, but I was
Shout out to my favorite murder. We love exactly Karen right. Kilgariff and Georgia Hardstark and the Exactly Right Network.
Exactly right.
That's exactly right.
What they call it?
Yeah, they named it after the fact that
she says exactly right.
This is exactly right.
This is exactly right.
I love you, Karen. Your voice is so sexy.
Oh, okay. Well, now we're going. We should reel back in.
Megan is part of the lettuce, guacamole, bacon, tomato, quesadilla plus community.
Plus community. Ohio. It's Ohio. It always comes back to Ohio.
It always comes back to. It was always Ohio.
If people don't know that meme, they're going to have no idea what this bit is.
Just look up The Incredibles and the Ohio flag, and you'll find it.
Pretty much. Gotta give a huge shout out to this YouTube channel.
I have no idea.
Link in the description. No, there's no link in the description.
Okay, but the thing is that a lot of people. Sorry, a lot of people.
I know a lot of people.
That's the assumption that
really
a lot of
cool.
people would
You're
listen.
So cool.
A lot of people would hear this and react to it. That's my assumption right now. A lot of people would if a lot of people heard this, a lot of people would say that the reason that you don't want to get involved and don't feel the need to is because things don't affect you because you're not part of the marginalized communities. I think that's fine.
Yeah, but there would be people that would also say that that's...
And you should use your powers for good because you have that influence and whatever.
Well, there's that, but also just the idea of not being involved on the side that they think is right is also...
Yeah, it's like if you're not with us, you're against us.
Exactly. Pretty much.
Yeah. And that's what I don't... The thing about I'm going to keep saying it. The thing about the liberals...
The liberals.
Is that... Yeah, and I mean, I also... The LGBTQ community, we're not a community. We are not a group of people that, like...
Where's your gay card? Where's your gay license?
I get 10% off at all Halloween pop-up stores. I registered last year. But we're not a community. We're not even a group of people with the same like identification.
Yeah.
Like it's we were grouped together because we are not straight.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we even know people that are 100% gay. They've always said they're gay, and they have said that they have no idea what bisexuality is.
Yeah,
and they don't understand that at all.
That's the thing is that, like, you know, people and that these groups within the LGBTQ community are gonna, like, they always say, oh, well, we're not accepted by the community. We're not a community. We are all individual people with individual opinions. Coming back to your main thing,
Yep, opinions.
And
in this country of freedom, can you go against someone's opinion, someone's right to their opinion?
There are people in and out of the community. There are people who I say that their label is lesbian, but they consider themselves a lesbian if they themselves are not a woman, if they identify as non-binary. When a lot of people who fought for the rights of, like, you know, who fought for the rights for gay people, they were of the assumption that that was just women loving women, not non-binary people loving women or women loving women and non-binary people. Because if you love somebody who's non-binary, like, how is that any different from... what is it called? Skeletal. There's a whole new label that's for people who are specifically attracted to non-binary people, and there's an entire community of people that have already picked a label that are never going to convert to a new label because they have the opinion that they fit into this one. And that's the thing about these labels, and, like, even, you know, left and right, Republican, Democrat, whatever. It's whatever you think it is.
Yeah.
The truth, there is no such thing as, like, fact and truth when it comes to these labels. It's literally whatever your opinion is the truth. And the problem with that is that we're all talking about the same thing, or we're all talking about the same word, but we're not talking about the same thing. We all have different ideas of these things that we're mentioning.
I'm sure that it's a whole community of gay people that just hate the rest of the LGBTQ community.
There are gay men that hate lesbians. There are lesbians that hate all men, including gay men. There are lesbians that don't think trans women are women. There are
no, that's very true.
Gay
that
men who don't think that trans men are men. There are.
I think I knew someone when our local high school was trying to make it so that the restrooms were non-binary. How would you even say that? They were not specific to men and women.
Yeah,
They were
they weren't gendered.
gendered bathrooms, yeah. And then there were people that were like standing up against it, and some of those people, like you just said, were people that identified as like lesbian or gay or whatever, that were like, I don't want no trans person in my bathroom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, it was just kind of funny to think about. Like, I don't know. There are definitely people on many different sides of the spectrum. But one of the things I was talking about earlier was somebody was asking me about who I was voting for, and they started telling me the reasons why I should vote for a particular party. And so I started asking them, and I was like, so where'd you get this information from?
BuzzFeed.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, did you
Facebook.
watch Fox News and exclusively Fox News?
My friend on Facebook said that
pretty
they
much.
do this.
So it's really funny because I wound up almost sounding like I was supporting one side because I just kept
Because
kind
you
of
were playing
rebutting
devil's
everything.
advocate,
Yeah, exactly. And I literally made this person cry because they were so convinced that they wanted to vote for a particular side. And by the end of this conversation, they were like, I don't know who to vote for anymore.
Yeah, and that's the thing is
Because
that
I convinced them that both sides were crap.
and going back to your original thought here, who's to say that these people that are saying that this is my platform, what do they actually think? What do they actually believe? How do we know that those are actually their beliefs, that we're actually voting for this person? Because apparently
They
when
almost never are.
yeah, and apparently when you get into office, it doesn't matter what you said on your campaign
No.
trail. You can do whatever the hell you want. You're in the office now. You're the one with the power.
Yep. 300 executive orders in one day.
So really,
Yeah.
I think the whole point of this is that nothing matters.
Nothing really matters. Do, 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 do.
Nothing really matters to
To
me.
me.
Dee, dee,
Do,
dee,
do,
dee,
do,
dee,
do.
dee. Anyway the wind blows.
That would be such a great way to end the podcast. So with that in mind, I'm going to keep talking.
We'll do it again.
So we'll do it again. This might be the end. Okay, I think I do have some.
You have a closing thought.
I'd
like
don't
to
know.
interject some thoughts. No,
Now
let me
add
interject some words.
Shout out to Da Things on YouTube.
The things on YouTube.
We love Da Things. Anyway. So I said, this is probably not even in closing. I probably started another thought and then just stopped typing, but we'll find out together. This is going to be awesome. I said, everyone has a right to their own opinions, and everyone has a right to support those who they want to, and the opinion to not support whose opinion. Okay, what the fuck was I trying to say here? Anyway,
No idea.
having the ability to listen to someone and agree that you both have a right to an opinion, even if you disagree with the other person, takes an incredible amount of strength. That's actually very true.
Yeah, agreeing to disagree is
agreeing to
definitely
disagree.
harder than agreeing
Right.
than just disagreeing.
Yeah. There are people who are truly who are truly avoiding conflict. I really was just not thinking at the end here. Not locking yourself into a room and thinking that it's you versus the world, but going out into the world and listening to what people have to say, agreeing to disagree is an opinion. It is in human nature. I used to hate hearing this line when I was younger. I would have arguments with people over stupid topics, as well as important topics. And if the argument ever ended in let's agree to disagree, I would get even more frustrated.
Yep.
And I would want to argue even more. I couldn't accept that someone was right and I was wrong. Or
No,
even if I was right.
It was that you couldn't accept that nobody was right.
Right. If pretty much that. If I was right, I couldn't accept that someone would stand their ground on an incorrect opinion.
Yep.
But that opinion is not correct. What was
Yep.
I trying to say there? I think that kind of makes sense. Like
That somebody else was saying that they
didn't agree with me
that
and
either
refused
way,
to agree with me.
if you are correct and they're wrong, they're like, I don't care. I'm going to continue being incorrect, is basically what you were hearing.
Right.
That you couldn't fathom that.
There was also a thing where people would say like, what would they say? There was like a specific line that used to irk me. It wasn't let's agree to disagree. It was just like, when people would just say something like,
It doesn't matter anyway.
or something like that, or just like I'm done talking about this.
I don't want to have this conversation.
Yeah, I don't want to have this conversation because I would usually just take that as I won. Like I won because you have nothing to rebut with, so you're done having the conversation because you realize that you lost, but you won't accept that you lost.
Well, and that's coming from that selfishness and that like self-centeredness that like you are smarter than the common person and your beliefs are correct, not that they're opinions. It's that you are
that it's not an opinion, that I'm just correct.
Yeah,
that's fact.
It's fact. Nick is always right.
I am always right. I am the Nick Tech CEO.
Nick Yankovsky, 2036.
Wow. Okay.
Because you have to be 30.
I have to be 30 something.
35?
You either did that math really quick or you did a really good guess.
Oh, that was a guess.
Okay.
How old are you?
I don't know. What year is it?
It's 2020. It always has been.
Oh my gosh.
It's actually 2012.
Never ended.
Well, the world ended in 2012 and it's been 2012 ever since.
Dude, that's a crazy opinion.
No, that's real.
Let's agree to disagree.
I hate you. But that's okay because it's my opinion.
It was just an opinion. It can't be right or wrong. You can defend an opinion all you want. Or if it's on the losing end of an argument, even if it's on the losing end of an argument. Sorry.
At the end of the day.
Let me start that sentence over. Jesus Christ, I can't read. You can defend an opinion all you want.
That was a prayer.
Even Jesus Christ, you can defend an opinion all you want. Jesus, even if you's on the losing end of that there argument, you can defend that there opinion. Ain't that right, Jesus?
Why?
Why?
Why? Why?
That's pretty much where I ended anyway. So that's pretty much. You can defend your opinion all you want.
Yeah. So that's the thing is that in the end of the day, your opinion is moo.
Moo?
It's like a cow's opinion. It doesn't matter. It's moo.
Where'd you hear that one? That's awesome.
Friends.
Oh, it's from Friends. The greatest TV show ever?
Because he said, oh yeah, the best TV show ever. Because Joey was like...
people actually really hate that TV show.
Oh, so many people hate that. It's like a lot of people hate that. It's so many.
And they like Seinfeld instead.
No, but Joey was saying that and then the opinion was moot, but he said moo and then justified that is the phrase because it's like a cow's opinion. It doesn't matter. It's moo.
It's moo. Yeah, it's very true. But I was just writing about that. I don't remember what brought that on. I really don't remember. I probably was watching a podcast or listening to a podcast or something. It was either The Dollop or it was Chuckle Sandwich or something.
It was definitely The Dollop.
I
feel like Dave Anthony would get really hard into this.
Yeah. It was probably The Dollop.
Dave Anthony would get really hard.
Chuckle Sandwich yet.
At this.
So I just registered what you had said. Oh, Dave Anthony is getting erect. Anyway. Yeah, no, that was my little thing that I wrote. My little cheesish.
Yeah.
My cheesish paper.
That's a good thought.
Yeah. Not very much comedy in this podcast, but I think good discussion. Yeah. It's longer than all of our other episodes.
I mean, it's really nice that we're going to get canceled so
early on
into our podcast. Far, both of the stories that we did were just like discrediting black men. So.
Oh no! Hey, to be fair, I didn't know that. I don't think either of us knew the ethnicity. Well, okay,
that
mine.
He was
you
from
could
Africa.
have assumed. You could have assumed mine, but. Did you just assume it's ethnicity?
No, and I don't think that you wouldn't have known that Malachi was
Malachi. No, actually, my initial thought, which is hilarious now that I think about it, because it makes no sense. My initial thought with Malachi was that it was some kind of he was like an Indian person. And actually, I'll tell you,
he was Jewish.
He was like he's Jewish. No, he was like Indian or something. And the reason I thought about that is because when you started talking about this person that was just like being an imposter or whatever. Among Us. My initial thought was, did you see you probably didn't see this, the Bill Clinton kid?
What?
Okay, so long story short, it was at like the Game Awards or something, and Elden Ring got like Game of the Year or something, and so a bunch of these guys from Japan came up with their translator to give like it's like the Grammys but for games.
Yeah, the gamies.
The gamies, the gamers with a Z. The gamers. But they walked up and some kid from the audience got up and just joined their party and walked up on stage with them. And he stood there behind them in the frame. He like literally there's in live TV when there's cameras up, there's lights on them every time one of them goes live. So he would be looking at the cameras and position himself in between the people standing behind them awkwardly so that he was always in frame and always on camera. And right as the people when these guys were walking off stage, he walked up to the mic like while the music was playing and started saying something, and he was like, I'd like to thank my good friend Bill Clinton or something like that, and it was the most like ridiculous thing. And then he got like ushered off stage. I think he was like arrested, like this child was like, arrested
like Tommy Wiseau during the sorry, you remember the movie The Room?
No.
The world's worst movie.
Oh yes.
The guy that made it, Tommy Wiseau, the one that was like, oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark. Yeah, okay, him, yeah.
So they made a movie, The Disaster Artist,
right,
based on the book written by the guy that played Mark. He wrote a book about that whole movie process, like his narrative, how awful it was. And they made a movie with the Franco brothers, and it was called The Disaster Artist, named after the book. And that movie won an award, and Tommy Wiseau was there and went up.
No.
When they won the award and started like saying stuff, and they were like, nope, Tommy, nope, get off.
Oh my gosh.
He had nothing to do with the movie. He had nothing to do with the book. Like, he was just there.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
But yeah, we should do our next podcast about people that just...
That Bill Clinton kid.
Just, how uncomfortable it makes everybody when people don't follow the social construct, like the social script that we all ascribe to and think, this is how people are. And then when people don't follow that, how just like uncomfortable it makes us all.
Yeah. No, that was true. There was that. Oh, yeah, we could do a podcast on that because I was about to tell another story, but I'm like, let's do that one next. Let's just do another podcast.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, thank you everybody for listening. This was my opinion.
Yeah. Send all comments, questions, opinions
to the complaints department.
To the complaints department at www.we'renotgoingtofuckinglistentonyou.gov.
Because it's an opinion.
And your opinion is moo.
Your opinion matters to someone.
Maybe to you.
To you and probably someone else. It's a big world.
But like we said earlier, nothing really matters to me.